Killik and Co is a firm that offers both advisory, stockbroking and financial planning. The business was founded in 1989 on the back of the financial reforms of the Thatcher government. Spotting the emergence of a growing number of people who wish to take responsibility for their savings, Paul Killik decided upon establishing an approachable and accessible stockbroking service.
It was difficult for people to find an advised broker that was able to help them on the savings ladder. There was a general requirement amongst the old private client stockbroking firms for people to come with quite a large sum of money to be managed by those firms. So I sensed that there was an opportunity out there for a firm that would help people commencing their savings and that couldn't claim to have a large portfolio but would like to aspire to have a large portfolio.
In a bid to prove attractive to this emerging savings market, Killik & Co, unlike its competitors, did not insist on a minimum size portfolio. Furthermore, it introduced accessible high street offices around the city.
We didn't want to be tucked behind some office with a gold plaque. We wanted to be there on the high street, in the areas where we felt our clients would be. And that open transparency we felt was to try and break down some of the barriers that the industry had suffered from in the past.
Another central aspect to their vision was to ensure that each of their clients should have a single point of contact with their own personal broker. Should any further specialist knowledge be needed, that would then be made available.
What I've always liked is the idea that you have a relationship with a single individual. And it's a bit like your GP, and if he needs to send you off to see a specialist or something like that, he can do that. But by and large, he's the person who can sort out most of the issues for you, whether they're administrative or whether they are concerning investment and trading or whatever.
This model proved a success, but as the markets and regulations continued to change, Killik & Co faced growing competition from the independent financial advisor community.
Regulation has had a profound effect on the IFA marketplace, which I think most IFAs would admit was pretty much the Wild West 20 years ago. More recently now, with tougher regulation, with greater professionalism, the IFA community, a much more meaningful competition to the broking firms. They also are able now to hold assets which they were not able to before, or arrange for custody of assets on various platforms. So the IFA market is more meaningful competition for us.
Killik & Co realised that in order to face off the competition from the independent financial advisor community, they would have to change too and set about retraining their brokers.
There are always difficulties in changing somebody's mindset. They think they're a stockbroker or they think they're a fund manager, and we're telling them actually you really need to be more than that. You need to be a broad financial advisor. And so for many brokers it was a challenge, but a challenge that I think all of our brokers relished, the opportunity of learning more about the industry. And I think they certainly reflect the fact that Killik were early to recognise the changes of legislation coming down the track, and that put us in a position of being ready when it was required.
Having always been an innovative stockbroking firm, whether by offering PEPs, setting up off-pavement branches and introducing a website, Killik & Co continues to keep a sharp eye on developments in the market.
We're in a very rapidly changing marketplace, and I believe one of the skill sets of an entrepreneurial and what we like to think is a rapidly growing business is an ability to predict change, to understand change, and to embrace it.
This ability to foresee changes in the marketplace and adapt itself to them has proven to be one of the keys to Killik & Co's success.
The benefits are clear. We're able to do so much more for our clients. If we compare and contrast to where we were when the business was set up, all we literally did was put together an investment portfolio for the client. Now we have a full-blown relationship with the client to the extent that we're handling all aspects of their financial needs and requirements, so that we can consult on pensions, for example, on their will, on their trusts, any tax advice that we can offer. So the relationship is much broader and rounded, and hopefully makes the relationship much more stickier in the face of more competition in the market.
Having implemented changes but retained the firm's focus as primarily an advisory stockbroking firm with an eye on the savings market, Paul Killik believes the company is well placed going into the future.
I feel very confident for the business in the coming years for the reason primarily that we are in an ageing society and saving is going to become increasingly important. And so I think a correctly positioned business in that space, as we like to think that we are, will prosper.